Your objective is to create a face, neck, and shouldered endangered species portrait inspired by the artist Yargo Partel. Okay, so who is Yargo Partel? If you look at the screen, there's some examples of his digital illustration. He is a digital artist that uses photography and illustration in his works of art. And as I'm scrolling through, you can see all of his artwork. It's also posted on his website. But we're going to focus on the animal portraits, and we're going to use that as inspiration for our portrait. So it should look something like this. So you should have your animal face, and then your animal should have clothing, and it's only face, neck, and shoulders. If you also go to zooportraits.com, you can see clear images of this artwork. You can select from farm, pets, wild. We're going to be focusing on endangered species, so it should not be a pet and it should not be a farm animal. Those animals should not be endangered. So if you decide to go to the website, you can click and scroll through. If not, here are some images. Your first step is to choose an animal at worldwildlife.org that is endangered, vulnerable, or threatened from being extinct. You want to find a clear image of that animal that is facing forward. Now, when I say that, that means that you're not pulling your image off of that website. You just choose your animal from that website, and then you retype that animal in your Google search bar where you can see multiple images of that animal. You are going to select from those images a large file of an animal that is facing forward. So I showed you my process in the next few steps. Okay, so my next step is going to be to type in African wild dog because that's the animal that I selected. So I saw that my first website that I already looked at, that came up. I'm just typing that in. I'm selecting tool, I'm selecting size, I'm selecting large. That's going to give me a large image of that animal, so when I zoom in, it shouldn't be very pixelated. Once I find an image I like, I'm going to select that image, and I'm going to go to the website where that image is at, I'm going to find the image that I want to use, and I liked one of the images up there, so I'm just scrolling through. And there's my image. I'm going to click on that image and I'm going to drop and drag it onto my desktop. And that's how I'm going to collect all of my images for this project when I go to search. Step 2 is to choose at least 3 clothing images to collage with my animal head. You only need face, neck, and shoulders in your portrait. You do not need full body. A couple options that you can choose for clothing are beads, which you can see some of the images that I have here. I also have headdresses in there after my bead selection. Okay, I have head wraps. And surprise, I also have plaid as a cultural symbol. So as you're going through and you're thinking about what kind of clothes you're going to have for your animal, I want you to think of where that animal is located in the world. So that website, the first website that I showed you, that has the location of where that endangered species is located. You're going to want to keep that in mind. And then once you kind of realize where that species is located, you can include cultural clothing. Like for instance, I researched African traditional clothing. I also researched African necklaces as well. And then for my last component is I wanted to make it a little bit more fun, and I researched just white cat eye sunglasses just to add a little bit of extra sense of humor to my image. Your step 3, you are encouraged to work digitally, but if you want, you can also draw your artwork. If you choose to work digitally, you're going to create an animal head collage using at least 3 images on top of your animal. You're going to go to the website. It's called Pixlr, Pilxr.com, and you're going to include a solid color background. If you choose to draw, your artwork must be a full sketchbook page with a background, colored and outlined in black using your choice of material. Both digital and hand-drawn need a 3-sentence reflection when submitting your work. If you don't submit that reflection, you're going to lose 10 points off of your project grade. So the next couple parts that I have lined up for you are just a fast forward motion of me creating a endangered species animal portrait using that website that's above. Okay, so this is a very fast example of how you would create your artwork. When you're opening that document, I actually selected that light blue color and I made my document 720 megapixels by 720 megapixels. That's something that's really important that you're going to want to do to get that square format. If not, your composition is just going to come out as a horizontal format, but you want it to be square. So that's when you open that document, and right below that there's also a way to change your background color. So as you're watching this, I also added layers on the right hand side, and I'm going to put a photo in every single layer. I'm resizing my image by using all of the tools on the left hand side and just dropping those images in right now. And then after that, if you're looking at my images, those three dots on the top of those images, I'm making some of my images invisible because it looks like there's a lot going on there. So I made my images invisible, and then I worked on one image at a time. Okay, I'm also working in the cutout section, and I'm using all of those tools. To remove, I'm going with red, and to keep, I'm going with green. So I'm just removing all of that stuff around my image, and I decided actually to use an earring of Africa. I decided to keep my sunglasses. I decided to keep my African wild dog, and I also found some clothing that I really liked. So as I'm going, I'm just resizing my images and making sure that my African dog, he's fitting on a majority of the page. And then I'm just slowly picking away that image and using those cutout tools to subtract my images, my pieces of my images. And I'm also using the brush tool right there, and I'm going in and I'm just painting in and painting out some of those images. I also gave my dog a really nice, like, soft texture around his face, just so it looks a little bit more like fur. And then as I go, you can see how I also created the sunglasses, where I found an image of those white sunglasses, and I'm just chopping away at that image using those different cutout tools, and then I'm going in and I'm cleaning it up. If it looks really sloppy, I'm not going to give you full credit for it, so think about how you can combine all four of your images so it looks nice and neat.